Have you ever thought every athlete should sprint the same way? What if I told you that approach is actually causing a lot of them to slow down? Many coaches I work with have excellent knowledge of progressing training in the weight room, but they struggle to create effective speed programs on the field. By the end of this video, you'll be able to accurately diagnose what type of speed training your athlete needs to maximize their speed gains, whilst preserving speed training for the long term. But before we get into the main video, I just want to let you know that in the description you can download my free Field Speed Toolkit to help you start implementing the sports speed system immediately and cut out some very simple mistakes early on. So back to the video. You might ask, why bother? I just put my athletes on sleds or get them sprinting fast and it'll work. It seems to work anyway. Let me simplify this for you. Would you ever perform multiple 1 rep max deadlifts every week? Of course not. That would drastically increase injury risk and overload their system, stopping development in its tracks. You'd be doing them harm. So why do that with sprinting? That's widely accepted as the most intensive activity an athlete can ever do. This is why I want to introduce you to the concept of speed age from my sports speed system. It helps you stop guessing and take control of your athlete's progression, because no one wants their athlete pulling a hamstring from poorly programmed training. Speed age evolved from Tudor Bomper's well-known concept of training age, which categorized athletes based on years of structured training, but that broad concept caused many problems for team sport and team sport athletes, because many team sport athletes have 4+ years of strength and fitness training, but minimal deliberate speed training. Exposing these athletes to intense speed training too often can cause more harm than good. And let's not make the mistake that sprinting whilst playing sport is speed training. That is not. It is just expressing speed. So what I did, I adapted the concept for the realities of team sport athletes, creating the 4 speed age levels. The first level is learning to sprint. The characteristics of this really are poor sprint mechanics, low rhythm and coordination, limited sprint volume tolerance. For an athlete to sort of have the basic criteria to be eligible for this, they need to have basic sprint competency, the ability to accelerate under control, understanding correct positions and postures to tolerate low speed loads. The primary training methods we would use here in learning to sprint are wall drills, marches, skips, extensive accelerations, tempo running, low-level plyometrics, and long accelerations can be used sparingly to good effect. Now, as a coach here, you need to prioritize learning over intensity, and that will keep density low whilst building rhythm and confidence. Maximum speed work is not to be rushed here. This alone can create massive increases in speed in an initial training cycle. That's because the gap between physical potential and the skill and readiness to sprinting has not been adjusted yet, but as it gradually does, that takes over and speed becomes abundant very quickly. The second level of speed age is training to sprint. The characteristics here for an athlete, they are competent in acceleration but limited in their upright mechanics. This probably happens as you see lots of tension appear at higher speeds and late speed expression. In order for an athlete to qualify to enter the training for speed age, they must be able to access upright sprint postures quite naturally, tolerate moderate sprinting intensities and sustain 4 to 8 weeks of consistent training. This tells us that their body can handle the intensity of sprinting and back it up whilst recovering from it. The primary training methods we would use here are long accelerations, build-ups, resisted accelerations, introductory maximum velocity training, extensive plyometrics, basic change of direction work. And the coaching focus here is that actually long accelerations are critical for delaying fatigue and injury risk. Early exposures and volumes matter more than complexity here. This is where we're starting to lay the foundation of structured speed training and progressive overload of that. The third speed age is sprinting to compete. Characteristics here for an athlete to enter that stage of speed age is they have to have stable upright mechanics, strong acceleration, moderate elastic qualities which can be determined in physical testing, but also the athlete needs to be able to hit high speeds without tension. They must maintain mechanics under fatigue and demonstrate good repeatability. They also need to be able to tolerate moderate densities. And what that means is increasing the amount of sprint exposures per workout, per week and per cycle. The knock-on effect of an athlete doing that cannot tolerate that can lead to injury and excessive fatigue. The training methodologies we would use here are maximal accelerations, extended maximum velocity exposures. So here we would go from fly 10s to fly 20s, for example, intensive plyometrics and progressive change of direction drills, elastic work, power development, and resisted acceleration can intensify here. We also can look to the addition of assisted acceleration and potentially some overspeed work later in this speed age. As a coach here, you should be focusing on the shift from expression and density to tolerance. The speed should appear easy. We're trying to reduce acceleration distances for specificity, and athletes may be running faster than ever. But focus here needs to be on repeatability and expression, not chasing more marginal gains. By the law of specificity, eventually, even the high achievers here need to actually train like a track athlete. But we don't want that for team sport athletes. We don't want them to become sprinters. They need to be good at their game. And finally, sprinting to win is the fourth level of speed age, and the characteristics here we need to see are high speeds with efficient mechanics, have stability under dense loads of sprinting, and strong elastic qualities. We need to see them bouncing out the ground, looking incredibly relaxed and running very fast doing so. For an athlete to enter this criteria, they must be able to access speed on demand and tolerate high mechanical outputs, maintain robustness amidst the chaos of sport, and often the problem that you have is fast athletes can be incredibly injury prone. So proper application of speed age avoids this. The primary training methods you want to focus here are shorter accelerations, some advanced maximum velocity work with detailed metrics where we can look at ground contact time, stride length, pushing frequency up, but these are the real marginal efforts. Also, overspeed exposures can be used here too. We want to be able to see high speed repeatability, and from a strategic point of view, micro-dosing approaches become your friend. Unlike in the earlier speed ages where your whole training approach should be focused around the development of here, this is where we move to a team sport first approach and we're just tapping on speed development. The coaching focus here is that progressions are subtle, emphasizing refinement and maintenance to avoid unnecessary overload. Focus on how frequently speed can be expressed in the game and not just raw speed improvement. Now that you know how to identify and categorize your athletes based on their speed age, you're ready to create coherent, tailored programs. If you want to learn how to build sessions that connect drills into powerful development thread, then check out my next video on drill stacking, my unique coaching formula.